Alright guys, welcome back to another video. What I'd like to do today is a video response of sorts to Lawnboyspost 1975. David put up a video a few days ago where he discovered a shop where it sold a couple of retro games, and he didn't realise that one, it was a shop, and two, it sold any games. It looked in his video a little bit like a crack den. But it was pretty cool. It was kind of, as he put it, it was kind of unique and interesting. So he had asked if anyone had any similar stories of finding games in peculiar places. And I have it's not quite a shop, but I have a story to tell nonetheless, so I'll just crack on. So basically, a few years ago I was travelling the world, me and my missus, and we were in Australia for a little while. And we went into one of the pubs out in Australia for some food, some lunch one day. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Australia that watches this, but there's, in Britain we have like slot machines in pubs and things like that, but you tend to only find one or two. In Scotland we call them puggy machines. We're out in Australia, they're called pokies, and they're everywhere. Most pubs have got 10, 12 sort of banks of them, as you will, along a wall. A lot of the bigger pubs anyway, and they're very, very popular out there. So we went into this restaurant slash pub, had a few beers, and ordered a meal and things like that. So sitting eating my steak, and I heard like this ding 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 noise, and I was like, what the fuck is that? So I just ignored it. And eventually I got up to go for a piss. As I walk into the toilet, there's a small boy in the booth next to us. He's sitting playing a video game. So it caught my eye, because what it was an Atari Lynx. This is the Model 2 version. So he was sitting playing this. So I says to him, oh, that's interesting, I've not seen one of them since I was a wee boy. What game are you playing in that? So he was playing a racing game called Checkered Flag. And it transpires that his dad he enjoyed a drink and enjoyed a bit of a gamble like most Australians do, not generalising or anything. So his dad took him to the pub and just left him in the corner to play this. And he was pretty bitter about it. So I says to him, I've always fancied one of them, what do you want for it? And he's like, I don't want to sell it. And I was like, come on son, I'll get you a good price for it. And he's like, well, I want to have some cash to play one of the poker machines as well. I says, alright then, I'll get you some cash to play the poker machine. So I took him across to the poker machine, I gave him a couple of dollars, and he fired it in, and he had a good time, and I think he won. He won a couple of bucks back. So then I says to him, so you're going to give away the machine? And he was like, no, I don't want to sell it. I says, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $50 for it. So his wee face lit up, because I think he was only 9 or 10 year old, I don't know what he was doing in the pub in the first place. But his wee face lit up and it's like, $50. I says, I'll give you $50 for it. So he says, aye. So I gives him the $50 and he gives me this Atari Lynx. So I'm proud of this bunch. I go back to the table and my missus is just like, what's wrong with you? I was just like, well, we've been travelling for a long time, and all I'd had was some emulation on my laptop, so I was really missing the old retro games from back home. So I says, well, again, it's a handheld that could fit in my rucksack. Granted, it's probably the size of a small 14-inch TV, but so he was happy. So just as we were getting the check, I goes to go out the door, and then the dad shouts me across and says, you stole my fucking son's handheld. And I'm like, no mate, I gave him it. And the son's like, you never did, you never gave me any money for it. And I says, oh, I fucking did. So it was a bit of a ruckus, but basically I sorted them out. I told them what was what, and then there you go. So that's how I got my Atari Lynx. I was happy at first with it. And then I remembered that it takes 6 double-A batteries, and my fucking god is it a thirsty fucker. I was going through batteries 6 every 2 days or something like that. So my missus wasn't the best happy at that as well, so I eventually had to buy a charger for it. But luckily in Australia as well, there were a load of retro game shops called Game Trader. It was sort of like our Game in Britain, or in America GameStop and things like that. But they done self-murdering games and retro games. Unfortunately most of them are shut down, I think, now. Anybody from Australia could maybe correct me if they're still open. But I'd happen to, every time I came across one of these Game Traders, I'd pop in, see if there's any retro games. And luckily I found a couple of Atari Lynx games out there. What I found, APB, good little game. Hydra. And Shanghai, nice little puzzle game. And I've managed to pick up a few other games from Atari Lynx. I love the Atari Lynx, it's a really good system. If you haven't got one, I'd definitely decide to pick one up. I know Monkey Spies has just picked one up again recently, so it's a really good system. But why I'm so proud of these games is because I actually carried these back. I had a rucksack that I travelled the world with. It was a 65 litre rucksack, and I had most of my women's clothes in it, not for myself obviously, apart from just at the weekend. But so I had a couple t-shirts, a pair of shorts, a pair of jeans, and I think that was it. And I managed to carry these 3 games, and they're all in still cracking condition, all the way back for another, I think it was another 9 or 10 months I had these in my rucksack. So I was very, very pleased. These mean an awful lot to me, these games, because not only have they came from all the way across the other side of the world, but they're still in really good nick. So yeah, that's my Atari Lynx story, guys. That's what I love about retro stuff, is there's always memories associated with them, and new memories are created by buying them back. So yeah, so there you go. That's that story taken care of. Big fan of Dave's videos. Love Lawnboyspost. Everyone knows who he is. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.